So somebody was asking me if I could do a video on the double empathy problem again. So the double empathy problem was coined during a time where there was a widespread belief that autistic people lacked empathy. So Damien Milton, who coined it, proposed something completely different. He suggested that autistic people and non-autistic people both can misunderstand each other because they're interpreting the interaction, whatever interaction that is, through a different way of experiencing the world. So basically, in other words, the problem isn't that somebody lacks empathy, it's a mismatch between two different neurotypes. And the more that I've learned about it, the more that I've realised that it really does not stop at empathy, or I guess it's also talking about communication. It affects almost every layer of experience that we have. So hi, I'm Jade. I'm a private psychotherapist. I'm also diagnosed autistic and I run a place called Planet Pure, a place where I help autistic people begin to understand themselves rather than blame themselves. So when most people hear the double empathy problem, they think about communication and empathy. But I think that actually it's much bigger than that, because if two people naturally experience the world differently, they don't just misunderstand each other's words or intentions, they actually begin to misunderstand each other's behaviour and even each other's character. For example, if somebody says you're overthinking it, it's just not that deep to an autistic person. The autistic person isn't actually trying to overthink, they're trying to build an accurate understanding before they make a decision. The other person thinks, but why are you making this so much more complicated than it needs to be? And the autistic person is thinking, but I'm just trying to make sure that I'm sure and that I've understood this properly. And actually, my brain doesn't tend to work in a polytropic way in the way that yours does. Neither person is trying to frustrate or misunderstand one another, but they do. They're working through things completely differently. Or say, for example, an autistic person looks away whilst they're talking or whilst they're listening. The other person might think you're completely disinterested in what I'm saying, but maybe the autistic person is actually intensely listening and thinking, and actually that helps them do so. Or another example is, if an autistic person tells the truth very directly, their intention is usually respect. Or let me speak for myself, when I tell the truth, I do think it is a form of love and respect. The other person might experience that as criticism. But that might leave me confused, because honesty for me shows how much I care about you, that I'm not going to lie to you. And this is why I think that actually the double empathy problem reaches far beyond empathy and communication. It affects pretty much everything. It affects friendships, relationships, it affected school, it will affect work, it will affect parenting, therapy, healthcare, trust. It is a whole infrastructure. And if people repeatedly misunderstand your intentions, you might start to absorb that feedback and wonder whether you're the problem, which just isn't the case. And this highlights it. And this is what is playing out in real time for most people all the time.